let's do an experiment. I see so many people out there saying that they always bake their bread with starter from the fridge, and I want to see what happens there because I don't like doing that, but maybe I'm gonna prove myself wrong today. Okay, number one is gonna be my beautiful starter that I maintain. Doesn't really smell acidic very much. It tastes acidic, but not in a way that makes me want to spit it out. This is for my family, so don't freak out. Do 80 grams in each bowl. Starter that has been sitting out for about a day. It's not at peak anymore. It smells pretty acidic, but it's not like hoochie. I don't even think I'm gonna want to try this, but we're gonna do it. This has been in the fridge for like at least a week. There's no hooch on top, but it's starting. Okay, so this one, it's like completely at the bottom, not floating at all. The one that was in the fridge for a while, for just a day, that I haven't fed in a couple of days, is still sticking together. It's still staying together. And then my starter that I just mixed last night and was at peak, it's floating in the top of the water. Number one is peak. Call it 2, let's call it discard. Number 3 is gonna be fridge. We're keeping them all at 75% hydration, which is low for me. Okay, Mama will come up there in just a second, okay? Now the salt.
Resetting.
Okay, let's mix them. I'm gonna clean up the bowls and then I'm gonna cover them and then we'll fold them in about 30 minutes. The one that I'm making with the straight, like super old discard from the fridge, already it feels the most loose because kind of like overproofed bread, the gluten has broken down in that starter, so it's adding more liquid than the other ones for now. Number one looks pretty good. Pick it up, stretch it. It's coming right off the bowl. Here's the one with very old starter. Definitely looser, but it's coming together. Why are you gonna miss me? I've been with you though. In the fridge for like at least a week. Already has bubbles, but it's definitely more loose than the other two. Let's shape them. Shape them gently, and then we'll let them sit in their beta tins. same. Let's see what happens with these 3 loaves, huh? I'm gonna bake them in my fancy bread oven because I want it to all be very fair. They're gonna be on the same deck next to each other. I'm gonna flip them and I'm gonna put a 1 and then I'm gonna put 1 mark on this one, 2 marks and 3 marks so we know which is which. I'm really excited to see what is gonna happen here. Need a knife. Okay, loaf 1. This is the one with my active starter. Loaf 2 is discard. It had not been touched for like 2 days, but it hadn't been in the fridge, so room temp. And then this starter lived in the fridge for weeks. I mean, I'm super surprised. Let's see. Ooh, that's wild crown. Pretty good. It smells really good. Discard. Smells about the same. Fridge starter. So, definitely not as open. This smells acidic. Yeah, it does not smell as good as the other ones. Would everybody eating this bread notice? I don't think so. I definitely would. Let's try them. Loaf number 1 is with the fed starter. I can't even detect any sourness. The starter that I hadn't fed for like 2 days, but it was still a little bit bubbly. This one is with the starter that I hadn't fed for a couple of days, but it was still bubbly. It wasn't totally loose. Smells the same as this one, to be honest. This one had like goop. Like it was like starting to get a tiny bit of hooch on top. It had been in the fridge for a couple weeks. It's what I use to make discard recipes, mostly chocolate chip cookies. It's obviously not as open. And this one, I can smell the starter. Yeah, there's just this like acidic tanginess in the undertone. So let's try. Nothing wrong with that. Yummy. Better than I thought. It's definitely tangier. It has that like tanginess at the very end, the sour flavor. It's still really good. Just depends on your preference, I guess. Very interested to see. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with this either. I mean, it's obviously a smaller one, but like, yeah. It's just a lot tangier at the end. I would say that I probably need to do this experiment again with some whole grains because they're what bring out the sourness. This is straight up white bread, and so it doesn't really like make it as sour as when you add whole grains. But I mean, I guess bake with unfed starter if you want to. I think if you're trying to get like perfect loaves, super open, you got to maintain that starter better. But it worked a lot better than I thought. Am I going to start using unfed starter all the time? No, because I don't like this tanginess. I like that my sourdough bread has a deep, complex flavor, but it's not actually really sour. I think that you get all the benefits of the fermentation, but I'm basically eating regular bread. I prefer that. You do you. I would much rather that you're baking your own bread and you're doing it in the easiest way for yourself than to not bake bread because you think feeding the starter all the time is a waste of time and it's hard for you, you know? Like, just do what you do, right?